Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be doing a tricep. So that's going to be 3 different movements. We're going to be focusing on 2 lower body and 1 upper body movements. So if you guys want to follow along, this is a perfect opportunity. I'll be doing this as part of my training set. So let's kick it off. You're going to need a few pieces of equipment, a mat, a heavy dumbbell, and or kettlebell. The first exercise we're going to be doing is going to be a sumo squat or sumo deadlift, with a kettlebell. You can pick a load that's going to be relatively light for yourself. I'm going to be using the 53 here. So we have the 53-pound kettlebell. I've warmed up a little bit. I've done some of my prehab exercises. I'm not just going into this cold. Highly recommend you do some sort of warm up. So for today, we're going to go over the points of performance. I'm going to get a first set in since I am pressed for time today. I'd like to do 4 sets. We'll see how everything goes. But I'm going to do my first set. You guys can just watch and keep an eye on points of performance. But we're going to perform a number of reps here. I'll tell you in a second. Hopefully I can count as I execute these. So 12 is going to be the number of sumo deadlifts with a kettlebell. If you don't have a kettlebell, you can use a dumbbell. Then since this is a tricep, we're going to go straight into the exercise. Second exercise. Again, like I said, there's 3. I like to use the mat for this. We're going to be doing weighted glute bridges. And I personally like the mat for my tailbone. This is a 70-pound dumbbell. I personally like to put it off to the side, and then I roll myself into it, if that makes sense. So I'll have my feet about hip width distance apart here. I'll go over more points of performance after I get my first set in. We're going to talk about exercises specifically for your lower body, not only the ones we're doing today, but also other ones you can include into your routine. I think that was 4. 5. The rep scheme will be different for all exercises here. 7. 8. This is not the most comfortable because the dumbbell kind of digs into the hips, hip bone. I think that was 10. But I like it because I'll typically go lighter with the dumbbell. I mean, this is 70, so it's relative. But then I go higher rep scheme. I think that was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Over the side. All right, so that's a weighted glute break with the dumbbell. Third exercise is a single arm dumbbell row. Again, heavy's relative. We're doing the reps here. Again, I'll talk about points of performance here in a second, but I just want to get a first set in. And then for those that are following along, you guys can follow along as well. So we're going to do 8 on one arm. You'll switch your stance. 8 on the other arm. Now I'm using my watch to keep track of my splits. We're gonna rest about 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Entropy, come here. We have a special guest always joining us, Entropy, AKA Anchovy, AKA Furball. Furball, she definitely needs a haircut and she definitely needs a bath, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have rest right now. Let's talk about the movements. First exercise, sumo deadlift. So you're gonna have your feet outside your shoulders, just like a barbell. The ease, I won't say easeability, but this movement's a little easier than a barbell sumo deadlift because you do not have to navigate around the knees, right? So if I'm from a profile position, I don't have to worry about my knee position as the load is directly underneath me in terms of my pelvis. I don't have to go around the knees. So, like I said, feet outside my shoulders, maybe toes turned out slightly. That's traditionally a cue I'll give with a barbell. Like I said, we don't have to navigate around the knees. We can keep them parallel, but you do want to be aware of your knee position. If your knees collapse in, and you're not able to keep them over that ankle, then you can pull your stance in or turn your toes out slightly. That will help you create a little more torque with the knees, especially the hips. So load will be directly underneath your body, pelvis, feet outside the shoulders slightly. I'm gonna grab my handle. I'm gonna have my shoulders above hips, hips above knees, and then I'm going to press to the floor and extend all the way to the top. You notice that I kind of make a noise or sound. It's because I'm trying to brace my core and I'm trying to aggressively squeeze my glutes, aka my butt, right? So I'm gonna do one movement at a time because rest is almost up. So I want to press through my midfoot, right? Gaze is kind of natural, 45 degrees in front of me. If I want, I can lift my chin, but I press through my foot, push my knees out, squeeze my butt aggressively. I'm gonna bend my knees and hips, send my butt back to that bottom position. So I like to think hips first initially, then knees. Again, you don't have to worry about your knees because you're not having to navigate around them with a barbell. Since the bar is essentially in front of you, you have to pull your knees out of the way. Here, you don't have to do that. All right, next set. So you guys can kind of watch this in action. Play around your position. Now, my max deadlift ever is 415 pounds with a barbell. Now, this is significantly lighter. I have not deadlifted in a long time in terms of being heavy load. So I'm going significantly lighter, right? Lighter is relative. But I'm doing high reps. And I'm trying to build this movement pattern back up, especially through my back and my sciatica. I have not been able to do much pulling from the floor. So this is the first step for me. Well, one of the movements that I'm incorporating. We'll talk about more here in a second. All right, second exercise. Glute bridges with the dumbbell. I'll talk about these next, so stay tuned. 6, remember we're going to 20, 7, 8, you want to press with the midfoot. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You may feel like you slide a little bit, so you pull your feet back to the butt. 16, 17, 18, oh, what is it? Is that 18, 19? What is it? Oh, there's an extra one, 20. Again, you don't have to use a mat, but I do personally because of my sit bones, my spine doesn't feel comfortable on the floor. All right, move the mic over here. The last time there was mic difficulties because I was moving my arms, so hopefully this sounds better for you guys. Now next, again, single arm dumbbell row. We're doing 8. I think that was 8. I get excited and then I keep going. All right, so again, it's a tri-set, 3 movements, right? Technically, we're doing this on both sides. So anyways, 2 minute rest. So we covered the kettlebell, sumo deadlift. If you don't have a dumbbell or kettlebell, you can use a dumbbell. Next, the weighted glute bridges. I'm just gonna use a lightweight, just a demo. So I can make sure I'm eating the rest time. So for the weighted glute bridge, you're gonna have your feet parallel to each other about hip width distance, so think of your hip sockets. And then as I lay down, again, I go up to the side, dumbbells kind of right on my hip bones. Not most ideal in terms of comfortable level, but work with what you got. From here, squeeze my butt, lift my hips, hold, and then return back to the ground. So I want to think of squeezing my butt cheeks, squeezing my hamstrings. Obviously my spinal erectors will squeeze. I'm lifting, engaging. And I'm trying to tighten everything at the top and then come back down. And every time I come up, down, it's a rep right. So 1, 2, etc. And the reason I have my feet parallel is I'm looking for transferability of movements, trying to build a strong position here. So as I go to deadlift, power clean, all that stuff, there is some change of position, but we want to think again, if you have only a small amount of time to get in the gym, you want to be as efficient and effective with your time frame as much as you can. All right. One thing I was going to know, foot position. So if you want to have more hamstring, push your feet or drop your feet or push your feet, however you want to say, extend your feet a little bit further away from your body or your hips versus bringing them closer. Not that you won't target the hamstrings here, but having them a little bit further away will allow you to target a little more of those hamstrings. I love weighted glute bridges with the dumbbell. Like I said, I'm going lighter because of my back. And it also allowed me to do higher reps, lower weights. I haven't been able to pull really heavy from the floor, my back. I've mentioned this before in videos. I have an 8mm herniated disc from L4 and L5. That is much. All right, next set. We'll talk about the single arm row in a second. But again, 3, we're getting through these exercises. Oh, it's 12. See, again, I get excited. I start going, I start counting, and then I forget. And then I can't remember what number I'm on. Ooh, Jesus. I do like weighted glute bridges with a barbell, as they're a little easier to get into. But 3, that's okay. 4, I'm just realizing my head might not be in this. Scooch down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm talking so you guys don't hear the trash can. 9, that was 10 actually, 10, We'll do the next one. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Remember, you want to think of pinching a penny between your butt cheeks here. So you squeeze really tight, and then you let loose. You squeeze really tight, and then you let loose. If you guys know my repertoire of movies I like to watch, let me know what movie that is. All right, ooh, that was like 20 or 21. I might have to move the mat because I don't think my head's in the frame. All right, so this is our third set. If you guys are following along, awesome job. We're about 10 minutes in. 2, we're doing 8 here. 3, 4, forgive the noise in the background. 8 more. Hopefully they'll be gone here in a second. 2, just great timing. 3, 5. So frustrating. It's okay. It's okay. All right, so balls. Alrighty. Okay, so that was our third set. Mark 2 with our watch. Let's talk about single arm dumbbell row. Holy crap. All right, so single arm dumbbell row, single arm. If you don't have a dumbbell, you can use a kettlebell, same concept. But if I'm facing my object, today it's my dumbbell rack I have from Rogue here. You can face square on. I'm facing at an angle just because of the camera and the camera angle. But if my dumbbell's in my left arm, I'm gonna split my stance. Think of not directly in line, like a hairline. Fracture, right? Think of a hairline, or don't think fracture. But you think of a stagger stance. Maybe not as aggressive. But if my right arm is on my dumbbell rack, or my bench, my box, that right leg's gonna be right there. I wanna have space for that dumbbell to row. I like to essentially have the arm hanging down versus being retracted. So I want to think of it being protracted, pushed forward, and then I'm going to row my arm back. So think elbow is being pulled back. If you've ever done bow and arrow, right, kind of same thing, but instead of up here, it is down here. So same concept as pulling that bow back, right, elbow back behind my rib cage, hand coming here. I like to kind of torque a little bit. I'm trying to engage a little more of that lower lat. So instead of just up here, I try to kind of get a little bit of that rotation. I struggle with it on my right side, so I have to really emphasize that. But if you're new and beginning, just think of rowing back, keeping the body square towards that ground, right? If you're more experienced and you have an idea of what you've been doing, that works too. Again, 8 reps on each side, left or right. If you've noticed, I've switched and alternated. I think the first 2 sides I started with one arm, that round and the 4th round I'll probably start with the other arm. Doesn't really matter. I'm not super particular. You can get to the nuances later. Typically, if I'm doing lifting or exercises, I may start with my weaker side so I can strengthen that side. So i.e. my right side's a little weaker. So then I start with that right side. All right, for 4th and final round. Yeah, anyways, we'll talk more in a second. So remember, 12, 2, also, I'm gonna make a note there, you're bracing your core. I like to think of pushing my abs out. If someone's tapping my abs or my abdominals, pull that a little closer in case my head is cut out. Again, that was 12 reps, excuse me. This is 20 reps here. So total of 4 sets would get us a total of 80 reps of these glute bridges. Again, 70 pounds is light for weighted glute bridges for me. I've done weighted glute bridges with a barbell up to like 325, 335. I haven't been able to do that recently, obviously. That was 9. If you notice, I kind of slide away over time with the mat. So I try to pull myself closer, bring my feet closer. If I've done more than 20, forgive me if you're like, oh my God, she's doing 21, 22. I'm trying to count, talk, coach, and think at the same time while talking is un poquito difficult. All right, last 8. Again, if you don't have a dumbbell, you can always do these with a kettlebell. Oh, spicy meatballs. Okay, 4 sets. Another sip of water. Okay. Alrighty. So that wraps up our tricep for today. I'm gonna do a little more, but if you guys have questions, let me know. Feel free to drop them below. Again, sumo, kettlebell, deadlift, glute bridges with a dumbbell, single arm dumbbell row. Rest about 2 minutes, complete 4 sets. To modify this, you can do 3 sets, 3 rounds. You also can increase the rest if you're really tired and you're new. You can also change the reps. Instead of 12, maybe do 8 to 10. Instead of 20, maybe do 12 to 15. Instead of 8, maybe do 6, right? Everything can be modified. This is just an example and an insight to what I'm doing for training. My sister's in town, her and her boyfriend are in town, and so this week's off my schedule. So routine is very important. Routine is gonna help you establish that habit. That habit will allow you to establish that consistency. That consistency will allow you to lead to results. Now it seems like, oh, I just want results right away. We all want results right away, right? I'm gonna cuss and try not to cuss. So we all want results, right? But the habits are what is gonna build over time. But to build those habits, we have to build a routine. We don't have to, but it's a lot easier to establish a habit if you build that routine. So build that routine. In time, that habit will form. In time, that habit will lead to that accountability, the ability to be consistent day in, day out, and that will lead to results. Now, again, this takes time. Be patient, enjoy the process, embrace the struggles, celebrate the successes. I say this all the time on social media, and it is hard, but it will help you get there. Again, it's not gonna be immediate. And I will say, the older you get, the harder it is to bounce back from injuries. I can attest to that, but also the longer it may take to get you there. But it is better to start now than never start. So get started, share this video, hopefully helps with others, hopefully inspires you, hopefully inspires others to get moving. Doesn't have to be heavy weight, it can be body weight. If you have questions, send me a message, leave a comment, and I hopefully will see you guys next time.